money, Jordan Belfort. Stacking penny stocks while I'm flipping these birds. Sipping on Ciroc, trip 'em up with the words. I done popped the Molly and I think it's be my third.
It is the Fantasy Golf Degenerates podcast, bringing you this week's Rocket Classic, baby. Best bets, DFS picks, one and dones, story time. We've got a lot of stories to do, and some 3M Open recap with Jackson Koiven having his first W on the PGA Tour. It's going to be a fun week. As always, the show's brought to you by Fantasy Golf Degenerates. DK, use the code FGD for first-time depositors over there. We love your support in that department. Hit the like, hit the subscribe while you are at it. And as always, I'm brought to you with my co-host, Kenny Cash King Kim. Hello, Kenny.
Yeah,
Kim.
it hasn't been great the last couple of weeks in cash. This past week was probably one of my worst weeks of the year. It's going to happen. You know, you're going to have a handful of bad weeks, and this was definitely one of them. The only hope I had going into the Sunday was Coles. The Coles one, I'd have a winning week, but he didn't even place. Finished ninth, a stroke out of the placement. So got skunked in DFS, got skunked in betting. Hasn't happened that many times this year, which is good, which is very good. Probably I could probably count it on one hand. The amount of times that has happened this season. So, you know, you got to go through all the downs when you do this. It's not going to be always up, and we were up for a little bit for a while. It's the last, I'd say, about 2 months. It's been a little bit of a roller coaster, but hopefully we can end the season strong. I did hit Pocket Eater here last year at the Rockets, so we're hoping that we can get some momentum from last year. But Koiven, what a stud! So impressive. I have to say, I was off of him this past week. He just missed. I decided to go super instead, like a fucking idiot. And I thought he was truly impressive to do what he did on Saturday and take that lead and then have Scotty breathing down his neck. I mean, and still going out there and not trying to just hold on to the lead. We see that a lot with people who don't tend to win that often, who struggle winning, where they just try and hold on Sunday, like a Sam Burns. We've seen that. We've seen it from Oberg a bunch. Koiven went out there and played his regular game. He was aggressive. He was going for the flag. He was going for the pins. And the thing is, if he wasn't, he wouldn't have won because Scotty went out and shot 63, 62 on Sunday to get there. So if Koiven shot a 69, which would be probably right around field average for the day, it would have went to a playoff.
Yeah.
Instead, he shot 66, went out there, went for all his shots, did his thing. Truly impressive. He is a stud, the number one ranked amateur golfer of all time, according to Data Golf. Number one ranked amateur golfer of all time. So, you know, coming in, getting his win in his fourth pro event, just third pro event, just like Matthew Wolff. Matthew Wolff did the same thing, got his in his fourth. But, you know, I think he's played like 11. I don't know. I think it was a Rocket, right? It was one of these. It was some event. Yeah, it was some event where he got his fourth win. His first win in his fourth event. Now, the thing about it is with these young guys nowadays that we've seen from Oberg, from Wolff, to Hovland, you know, there's some others that I'm missing, you know, a Tom Kim, right? They seem to have all started off really strong coming out from, you know, college or wherever they came from. I mean, Oberg went out there and was like, you know, right after college, he went over the pond, finished like second, won some event in the DP World Tour, came over here, finished second at the Sanderson, then went over and won the RSM, right? So everyone's thinking, wow, this guy's going to keep on going, keep doing his thing. Of course, he didn't. Took him about a year and a half to win his next. And then it's been about a year and a half since he's won that, right? You know, Hovland's had his up and downs. Tom had 3 wins and then a huge gap before his next victory a couple of weeks ago, right? The thing about these guys nowadays, these young guys, is they have so much confidence and so much skill coming into the PGA Tour that, you know, it doesn't even faze them that they're rookies. They're going out here and competing immediately. Now, the issue is sustaining it, and it's incredibly hard to sustain it. I mean, there's only been like 2 guys, right, in the last 20 years who's been able to sustain it for a decade plus, Rory and Tiger, right? That would be it. I mean, maybe you could put DJ in there, but it's very difficult to do. Now, can Koivu become, not like these guys and keep on going up, the ranks? I mean, honestly, the talent is there. It is possible. We'll see. I love the way that he took control of that Sunday round. That is not a normal thing for a guy on his 4th pro start. So this guy's different. This guy's different.
He's a baller. And we got to give Scotty his credit there. For Kenny now has been half a decade of dominance. Became world number 1 in 2022. So I think we can throw Rory, Scotty, but now obviously not 2 decades or a decade. But I agree. Look, we saw what happened with Luke Clanton. Sorry for the drive-by there, Luke fans. But Buddy had, I think, 4 top 10s as an amateur, and he's only had like 3 top 30s as a professional. Things can go weird for you as soon as you sign that dotted line to turn pro and start making some cash, Ola. And, things like that. The pressure comes mounting on. But he was flawless for the first 17 holes of the tournament. And then he had like a 3-shot lead going into 18. Old Koivu fatted his driver with 162 mile per hour ball speed. Duck hooky quacky found the fairway, laid up, hit it over the green, chipped it to like 15 feet short, and then made the putt to have the tournament tying record. I mean, it was a synopsis of exactly what he does so well. Hit his irons great, make the putts. So we'll see. It's always, what would you say his number 1 attribute is, Kenny? It's putting?
His putting. I mean, his ball striking is great too, and his confidence, his confidence in his game. The mental is what I saw on Sunday was amazing. And, because Scotty is chasing you. I mean, it's not just Scotty. It was like the 3 best golfers, like
it was 6 majors behind
field.
him.
Yeah,
6
it was like
majors.
Scotty, Hideki, and
Harmon.
Somebody else, and Harmon. Yeah, who were like right behind him. Got major winners chasing him, and he was still able to do. Now, the only thing people have been talking about this a little bit. The only thing, one of the things that could possibly derail Koivu is, of course, his swing. He has that Willie Z type swing. He has that Neiman type swing. And here's the thing, we've seen guys like Willie Z, those slender guys with that swing who've had issues with their back and stuff. I mean, he's the one that comes to mind, number 1. But you look at Neiman. Neiman was felt skinny just like that when he was younger, first coming out with that same swing. You might not see it, but he's bulked up a decent amount. Neiman has. I mean, it's not all skin and bones under there no more. He's got a little bit of muscle.
Well, he's eating $1 million meals, man.
Yeah,
he can eat what he wants.
He's got a little muscle there now. And so, he can go out there and still be able to do his swing. You really haven't heard too much about Neiman and his injury. If Koivu could go out there, get in the gym, build his body up. The guy's 22, 23, 21, I think, actually.
21.
If he could just build his body up, I think the swing will be fine. But the problem is it's probably going to have to go through adjustments if he wants to do it long term, because you don't see guys 35 years old swinging like that anymore at all.
No.
Right?
No. And, like the first person that comes to mind who's got like a disastrous outcome with a similar kind of a profile swing is Nick Dunlap with the driver. He's got a very similar swing with that like low, like head dip as they make contact with the side band. But again, like you mentioned, there are other guys that are really crushing in that department with that kind of swing. But I did want to mention
Ryan Fox's swing is almost exactly the same. Now, if you're built like
Fox
a shit brick house, or a brick shit house, right? I mean, it's a lot fucking easier to have that swing when you're 40 years old, right? And so what Koivu's going to need to do is he's going to need to gain some muscle.
He will.
Some muscle,
he'll figure it out.
Hit the gym. And I don't think Willie Z did that. Willie Z just stayed skinny.
Yeah, and was chasing speed while staying skinny, I think, from what I understand. So, there's a combination of things there. But what I do want to mention, I was chatting to my brother-in-law because they brought up the graphic of Aldrich being the youngest PGA Tour professional in the last whatever. And then Koivu, now 21. Aldrich is 21 as well. Aldrich's already shot a 59 in the KFT. He's already won the Rocket. He just chose his own path, straight from high school or whatever, homeschooling or whatever he was doing. I don't even know if he went to school, but Quaven has come through Alabama. He quit at a junior level, right? He's turning pro at junior. He's not always a senior. Whatever. He's had 3 or 4 years of college golf and through an Alabama program, so
3 straight SEC championships, individually.
So I think the grooming there to like compared to like any young professional who's like just on the scene, with NIL deals and things like that. Now, becoming a PGA professional as a college, veteran must be the easiest it's ever been, or at least if you are the top of the game, you know what I'm saying? Like the entry level.
Because of how talented the amateurs are nowadays. It's not like like when I was growing up, I mean, there were guys, that were, not even scratch golfers, probably like a 1 or a 2 or a 4 or something that would make a college team, right? They would be on. That's not happening anymore, right? I mean, all these guys are scratch shooting on their par on these teams. Like 20, 25 years ago, I mean, you had a guy that was probably a 4 handicap on the golf team, right? That shit ain't happening no more. No. Now, another problem is the fact that these youngsters are getting so good in the amateur ranks and getting to the pros and being successful immediately. The amount of money that they're making, that can be an issue too, because a lot of these guys, when they think they've made it, right? They try to reach a certain point and they get to that point, then they're like, wow, now what? All right, now I'm making all this money, I'm cool, right? And you get a little bit of lackadaisical, you get a little bit of comfortability in it, and you lose that edge because of the amount of money that these guys are making. So we'll see what happens with him. The guy seems like he has a great head on his shoulder. He seems like an amazing golfer. The mental seems like it's there. He has superstar written all over him. So
Amanda Ballionis asked him, is this just the beginning? And most people would answer, I don't know, I'm just enjoying the moment, whatever. His answer was, yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. He did say yes, ma'am.
Right? Am I correct? Like, it was like, oh yeah, this is the dream. We are going for it now. Like, I'm happy to do this. Next tournament, he's showing up. He's playing he's playing this week, so
he's already on he's been on the course today practicing.
On the course today on a Monday. Let's freaking go.
I mean, less than 24 hours after his victory, instead of going out boozing, he just turned 21. Instead of going out partying, boozing, whatever, he's on the course today. Practicing.
He won 7 tournaments in a 9-event stretch in college, and I would not be shocked if he wins another one this year somehow. Like, I don't know, it's weird, but we don't necessarily know who this kid is really yet, and I'm excited for it because it would be so sick to have like a young superstar rival Scotty. I mean, he beat Scotty Scheffler by 3. Scotty Scheffler beat the field again by 2.
Yeah.
So he technically beat the field by 5. To be honest with you, like if we are just an incredible performance. I mean,
you also have these young guys like Ben James. You got Blades, who shot 61 on the Korn Ferry Tour on Saturday to get in the top 5 going into Sunday. He was actually invited to this event this week, turned it down because he wants to win a Korn Ferry Tour event, right? Yeah. He wants to win the KFT. He thinks he can do it. These new generations, these studs come up and they know that they got the talent. They're going to compete immediately. The issue is, can they sustain it? We'll see. There's a lot of factors that go in there, like, complacency, money, time, relationships, becoming an adult, right? When you're a kid, you don't have very many responsibilities outside of just playing the game. You can get your work in. Right now, you're an adult. You got money, you got finances, you got people you're taking care of, probably a wife soon, probably kids soon. So there's all these different factors that can come in and sort of derail a supposed stud like that. But I hope it doesn't happen because the guy is super talented.
Seems dialed. Who wasn't dialed was Emiliano Grillo, who asked Quaven if he wanted him to putt out. And then Quaven, I think I lip read it correctly, saying, I don't care, whatever you want to do, man. And then Grillo's like, okay, you go ahead. And then Quaven makes the 15-footer and everyone's like cheering for him. And now Grillo has to stand over his putt to try and make it. It's like, brother, you've been on the scene for so freaking long. Get your shit together. You go make that putt, get inside the top 5, missed it, T7 for Griot. Like, how is he? You can't tell me he gave it his best shot there after with everything going on around him. Like incredibly rookie move from Emiliano Griot. I just wanted to put that out there. I found that fascinating for him. I would have loved to have seen Koivu have that as the last part of the tournament, man. That would have been so much more incredible. But then instead he has to go and like stand on the side while Griot's like aim pointing for another 2 minutes, So anyway, that's just my last little gripe. It was a lot of fun just watching a golf tournament with $0 on the line as well, because I had no bets out there, and it was just fun just being a golf fan versus a golf degenerate, fantasy golf degenerates. And speaking of fans, huge fan of Spencer. Thank you so much, Spence, for helping out last week in the Discord and on the show. You absolutely crushed. Yes, we apologize, guys. The audio was slightly delayed, maybe a little more than that, but, life goes on. You guys figured it out one way or another. And, Mike Baxter will be back, and we will be doing our thing going forward. But we do appreciate Jared always crushing for us over there too. So just some housekeeping in that department. Anything else that happened in the golf world you're interested in chatting about this week, Kenny?
No, not really. I know you had an interesting week. I know you missed the Rocket, the 3M every year for this thing. Why don't you tell us about what you did this past week?
Yeah, baby. So I am rocking the beer shirt. As you can see, this is a gear shirt that's got like a bicycle gear chain on it in the shape of Iowa's outline. And I biked from this nipple to this nipple in 7 days, 405 miles across Iowa. It's called RAGBRAI, which is the Des Moines Register newspaper, the Register's annual Great Bike Ride across Iowa, RAGBRAI. 7 days, 400 and whatever miles, 16,000 feet of climbing, and you camp all the way through the week. You have a little charter that took our bags from one stop to the next. You grab them there, you pop them in, and the trucks take them along the way. So on the bicycle, I did more miles in 1 week than I had this year, as what's now becoming tradition for me, because I'm incredibly bad at preparing for things, but I procrastinate. And I did 150 miles beforehand and got the ass in the saddle, and the ass survived. Because the biggest thing that can happen on RAGBRAI is just, I spent 6.5 hours in my bicycle saddle on one of the days where I did 100 miles. So you are sitting in the saddle for way longer than you think. And I did 100 miles that day at 16.5 miles an hour. And it was bliss. You start in the West Iowa side there, and there's hills for days. We did 7,000 feet of climbing in the first 2 days, and I'm 250 pounds. And my buddy is 150 pounds. He cannot stay with me down a hill pedaling while I'm freewheeling. So just to put that into perspective, I have to then overcome that immense weight differential up the hills. And granny gear was in full effect when you just clicking, and I just go down the hill as fast as I can and then try and go up the next hill as fast as I can. But this year, those early hills didn't have any opportunity to kind of build up momentum. And I am 2 days replaced from the bike ride now. So drank 1 million beers. It was a fun time. There was one stop where I had a 12-pack. Just smashed a 12-pack, shotgun 4 beers, and it was bliss. So it was a week where I just really kind of went and watched concerts every single night after all these rides, and had a couple beers out there, had some friends show up, and kind of just meet these people as you're going across Iowa. They all show up to you and, come visit the towns that they're part of. And I got sunburned. I got hot. It is still hot here in Iowa. I'm in the basement. My parents have got the stuff here. You can see I'm just sweating profusely in the basement. So life is going on, but happy to be here. Any questions, Kenny? Like, I know we went through some fun towns.
Any run-ins with any meth heads or anything like that? Everybody good? Everyone,
Yeah.
Any issues?
I didn't have any issues with like meth heads, but on the very first day, cruising 20 miles an hour down a hill, and some lady that was driving in the right-hand lane, we were passing her. She'd been there for a while. As I'm passing her, she just turns into the driveway. And I just veer out of the way. And when you hit the I went off the road pretty much immediately at 20 miles an hour on my bicycle, 250 pounds with sexy Rexy between my legs, just bounding through the ditch, which was perfectly manicured. Thank God we're in a nice area. But if it was like a normal ditch, I'm wiping out. And ramped through the ditch, ramped over it, and then managed to get my shit together and back down the hill we go, But you are just constantly looking for disasters. We had multiple people, like when you get to the end of the ride for each little segment between towns, people forget to unclip their feet and they just bite it like hard. You're kind of exhausted. There's
of course.
It's a really incredible thing, and I could feel my legs getting better and better as we were cruising. Like once I got to like day 5 and I did that 100-mile day, the final 20 miles I was doing at like 20-mile-per-hour speed on the flats, and just they call that ego riding, which is like you just feeling yourself, out there in the wilderness, and you can like hear the tires making like a certain noise, which is like a very fast noise, and it's just like it just ramps you up, And then that was probably my favorite period of bike riding all week, was that 20-mile extra loop that you have to decide. They do you dirty, Kenny, because they leave the loop with 5 miles to go. If you want to just do an 87-mile day, you can just go straight because it's 5 miles to the end. If you want to do a 102-mile day, you have to take that right and add another 20 miles to your route, at the very end of an 80-mile bike ride already. And it was awesome. Watched some fantastic concerts. We had Spasmatics, we had Not Quite Brothers, we had Pork Tornadoes. Those were the 3 premier, cover bands that they don't sing any of their own songs. They just rip out it's basically rock concerts every single night with some pop and stuff involved. And dude, it's the best. Like, people watching at these concerts is great. Spiritually, everyone at these concerts was just like looking at each other with like euphoria and happiness. It was just so fun to like recharge the batteries. It's a week from hell that just makes me like really ambitious again every single time I come back from the week. So that's great. I love it.
I will say that when I see like a group of bicyclists on the road and shit, I want to hit them because I hate bicyclists on the road. Like, I literally want to drive through them every single time. I don't.
Why? Because they're in the way?
Yeah. I just don't like it. I just don't like it. I mean, they have the right. You're allowed to do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not breaking the law or anything. I just don't like it. Just not a big fan.
I do not ride in the road. We have trails here, and I never allow myself to be hit by the likes of you. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's people that will put their life in the hands of others around them who are on their phone, who might have been drinking. I do not put myself in that situation. If I am ever on the road, I'm going into the oncoming traffic until I see the car, then I come over into the lane I'm going with. And then if there's a car behind me and I can't actually do it, I am not on that road. You shouldn't be on a road that's that busy, in my opinion. Find a safe place to do your biking and go from there. So I agree. There are some obnoxious cyclists out there, and, I'm not part of that group. And it's something that I'm trying to preach people, is to like not be so naive and let people like take your life away because of others, So we saw that the 2 brothers, right? The 2 hockey players get wiped out from behind, like at dusk. So it's tough, man. But I did like 40 miles an hour down a hill. That's how hilly it was out there. Like, oh boy, like that was it. It was early in the week, and then as the week goes along, you kind of like go slower and slower down the hill. So it was a good time. Drank many beers that had multiple shotguns, and drank even more water than I did beers. You drink water for like the first 2/3 of the ride each day, because by the time I start drinking beers and then go to the next town, it's so far away that I sweat the beers out. I lose my buzz. So I have to like time when I start pounding the beers, because I need a couple to get hammered, like in the double digits easy. So it's something that I need. I've veteran moved this thing. I know exactly what's needed this week, and it was a blissful time. First time I did it without my father-in-law, who joined us on the final day, along with my dad, who's actually in town for a while here. So as you can tell, we've got the house set to my mom's temperature. I'm fucking just drenched over here. So apologies for all of that, friends. I'm so hydrated, I'm just sweating like profusely. That's just how it goes. But life of an athlete, you know what they say, Kenny. So that's my story there.
Yeah. So for me, I need the audience, the fans here, a little help. You can reply to this in our comment section on YouTube. So, my mother, she's been talking to this dude, right? An ex-boyfriend from high school, from like 50 years ago, right? The guy lives in Australia. Basically, she's become like, anytime she's over at my house, she's basically become like a young schoolgirl. Like she's FaceTiming him like all the time, talking like. So finally, she decides she's gonna go visit him. So she left last Monday to Sydney, Australia. This guy is a doctor, lives in Sydney. I was definitely worried about this, right? Because, you know, she hadn't seen the guy in 50 years. It's sort of weird. But my uncle, or my aunt's husband, so my uncle-in-law, knows him, talked to him, vouches for him. So I was like, okay, all right. So he's not like a serial killer. He's not some crazy motherfucker. His wife died a couple of years ago from cancer. And so, well, my mom's going. Now, the issue is I paid for my mother's ticket because, you know, I'm a good son. It was like $3,500 or whatever like that. Of course, she bitched that I didn't upgrade to Economy Plus, which was $8,500. Yeah. Right. And then business class was $12,000 and first class was $20,000 to Sydney. And of course, she bitched at me. But anyways, I asked her. I was like, why didn't the dude buy your ticket? Like, don't you think that should be a normal thing? Like, if a guy's going to bring a girl all the way across the other side of the world to visit him, most likely to bang. I don't want to think about it because she is my mother.
Gracious.
But, like, you know, what else are they going to fucking do? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, obviously, right? And so he should have fucking paid for the goddamn ticket. I'm like, what the fuck is going on here?
Did you not just say he was a doctor as well?
Exactly.
Right?
I've seen pictures of his house. Nice ass house. Beautiful fucking neighborhood. Lives near the fucking opera house. Right? You know what I'm saying? Like, dude's got dough. And I was like, Mom, why the fuck didn't he pay for the tickets? She's like, oh, I don't know. And she said that she invited herself. I was like, okay. But still, right? I mean, it seems like what a man should do now. Supposedly, I've talked to her a couple of times. She's having a good time. Supposedly, the guy is nice, a good guy. But what do you guys think out there? If you're going to fly a girl to come see you, don't you think that you should pay the ticket? Am I wrong thinking this? Give me some answers here, guys.
The very first answer I have for you is he's Australian.
He's Korean.
But living in Australia now, you know, so he's been brainwashed with their stuff that goes on in the Australians.
Oh, yeah, you hate Australia. You hate the Aussies. That's right. Okay.
Now, the funniest thing is I met an Aussie on Ragbri, and we hit it off like crazy. You know, I love the moment there's 10 Australians in any area collectively, I fucking hate them. But if there's 9, I probably can handle them. And if there's 1, we have a good time. It's just the moment there's more Australians than 10, we've got issues. And I mean, he's also, I mean, a full generation. He's the same age as your mom, right? Like,
yeah, went to high school together.
Exactly.
So basically, like, he was in love with her back then, but my mom was like, nah. Back then, my mom tells me stories like how she was the shit. Like, she was like, I choose any man I want. I was like, God damn, why'd you choose that? Because of you? Yeah, she looked straight directly at me. You're a dumbass. That's fucking why. I was like, my bad. Fucking wear protection, bitch. What the fuck? I mean, Jesus Christ. You know, but like, you know, in Korea, you know, being unmarried in 1979, being unmarried and pregnant, that shit wasn't gonna fly. Right? No. You know, she was 6 months pregnant when they got married.
Caitlin's 7 months right now, which I can't imagine what that must have been like, Kenny. But you know what? You have always brought joy to the world in many, many more ways than you realize. So, you know, I'm really happy your mom made that decision. And
I'm glad Dad, happy Dad didn't pull out. That is true. But
me too.
I mean, yeah. My mom hated that shit. It was like a huge mistake for her.
Yeah, but
Because
getting back
Go
to the ticket thing, it's old school. Like was old school more like not chauvinistic,
more chivalrous.
Yeah,
More,
it's
it
very
should be.
close words.
At least pay for
chivalry.
the upgrade. He should have offered to at least pay for the upgrade. Right.
How much did he pay for while like she was there though? Like was she
stayed
staying
at her
with him?
house? Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah, no.
They didn't even go see a show at the Opera House. They just visited it.
Yeah.
I was like, you didn't even go in? She was like, no. I was like, what the fuck? Like, what is this dude? No, the thing is, she seems happy, like a lot happier talking to him. So I'm glad that she's met him and it's cool. And like he's going to retire here soon, and his family actually lives in DC. So like his kids live in DC. And so maybe, he moves here or something like that. I don't know. I would like my mom to be happy. I don't think she'll move to Australia. So his ass would have to come here. Or if she goes back, his ass better pay for the fucking ticket because that shit's fucking expensive.
Second round, things get a little more serious. We'll see. Don't ever trust, like I said. So we'll, I don't know. Let us know, people. Let us know. I'd imagine the comments are overwhelmingly in our favor. Yeah. But again, maybe those that think that he's in his right mind to not do it, give us reasons why, because I'd love to know there. We do go read through all the comments as always. As you guys hit the like and subscribe over there, use code FGD when signing up as a first-time depositor at DraftKings. Kenny Kim, let's dive into the course preview for this week's Rocket Classic.
All right, so the PGA Tour heads to Detroit, Michigan for the Rocket. I almost said the Rocket Mortgage. The Rocket Classic from Detroit Golf Club. This is like I think the 8th or 9th time this event has been played here, and there's definitely one thing that we've learned in the past. This has been a birdie fest, right? I mean, like Nate Lashley won by 6 strokes at -25. Bryson and Wolf won. They torched the course, and there was like 11 golfers 15 under or better. There was the year where it was like 20-mile-per-hour gusts and -18 still won. There was another year there was 30-mile-per-hour gusts, -18 still won. Finau shot -26. Ricky shot -24 here, right? Now, here's the issue. The course has gone through extensive renovation this past year, which is hilarious considering it's not going to be a PGA Tour event next season. So great for the members. Great for the members, probably. But the biggest change was making the old par 5 7th and 17th into long par 4s. The course now becomes a par 70 with four par 4s over 500 yards, like right around like 490 plus. There's going to be 4 of them, par 4s. The bunkers were renovated throughout. They made them deeper, and they specifically focused on a lot of fairway bunkers, extending them out, into the fairway, pinching the fairway in, making the landing zones, a little bit smaller in those areas. It could leave a choice for golfers if they really thought it was going to be an issue where they could leave it short, have a longer iron in, or they can try and fly the bunkers now, or they could just hit it normal and just try and hit the fairway. There's a lot of ways to go about this. Now, let's see. All the greens are redone and made larger to fit more difficult pin locations. High fescue was also added throughout the course to catch wild misses. Now, what exactly is this going to do to the course? We don't really know too much for sure, but we do know with the course being a par 70, scoring should be a bit higher. Those 2 par 5s are the easiest holes on the course. So you're looking at like probably 4 to 6 stroke difference when it comes to average score for the week. Basically, instead of like -26 winning, like -22 to -20 or something like that might win. The greens being firm is the one catch-22. This is the one part that we really need to pay attention to as the week goes on, because brand new greens, redone greens, they always play firmer. How much firmer is something we don't know yet. I haven't gotten word. If it's like super firm concrete, which we've seen on some courses in the last 5 years that have had these type of adjustments, this will be the biggest component of making the course more difficult than previous years, would be the firmness of these greens. Now, do I think it's going to play rock hard? I don't, but I do not know quite yet. If it plays rock hard, I mean, you could see mid-teens winning this event with any type of wind at all. If it's just firm and still playable, I still expect, minus 18 or minus 22 to be the winner. So we'll see. What do you think about the course changes, Byron? And what do you think how the effect will be on the way this course is played?
Yeah, it's a very interesting situation. I'm showing my screen here, Jared. If you pop that up there, we can show what Ron Class PJ Splits 101 has out there. Took some nice photos of all of these, venues and things. And the fescues looks awesome. Overall, Kenny, I think the true difference is going to just basically be the fact that this golf course has changed from a par 72 to a par 70. These renovations and redesigns, they look a lot more overwhelmingly different, and the course might look different and might play slightly different, but at the same time, this course is still going to be a very, very normal, easy scoring venue, especially if the wind remains low, as the Midwest is in the middle of the summer. That kind of stuff. The course is lush and beautiful. So everything, the greens restored in the shapes that they've been, blah, 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 blah. I don't know, Kenny. I don't think it's going to be that difference. Obviously, the 2 par 5s have been converted to 2 very difficult par 4s, which are now, significantly longer than most of the other par 4s out there. So it's an interesting situation. I don't necessarily, I'm not going to read into it too much, although it does look really nice compared to what we've typically seen out here. At least got some sort of like an aesthetic to it, versus just like your normal Parklands Country Club. So it'll be fun to see. I don't see it being that different. Like you did mention though, the original, if the greens have been like completely overhauled. Did you say they've been overhauled entirely?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They've been elevated and redone.
Okay. Yeah. So that could change things up for the first initial start, which might be this week, like you said. So I don't know. But again, this field is absolutely loaded this week. So I think that, one of the big boys could land up winning, or if they don't, they are chasing down someone that's gone nuclear. And I think, we could expect those scores, like you said, up the top of the 19s there.
Now, before we get into the meat of the course, let's talk about the favorites and underdogs and long shots. Here's the thing about this course. Last year, of course, Pocketer won at 100 to 1. And I think people might get the wrong idea that, this is a long shot, bet a lot of those guys, that's the way you bet it. That's not necessarily the way I'm looking at it this week, because if you look before Pocky, right, in 2024, Akshay won. He was the 3rd betting favorite. Min Woo came in 2nd. He was the 4th betting favorite. 2023, Ricky was the favorite when he won. Morikawa, which is crazy, Morikawa was the 2nd favorite behind Ricky. And he came in 2nd. So the 2 betting favorites finished 1 and 2 in 2023. In 2022, Finau was the favorite. He won, right? Pendrith was the 3rd favorite. He came in 2nd. So I don't necessarily think that you want to just litter your thing with all long shots. For my card is all favorites.
Okay.
That's the way I'm going about it. We'll see. We shall see. Let's go ahead and talk about the course. Detroit Golf Club was designed by Donald Ross and has the usual trademarks of a Ross course. Tree-lined fairways, numerous fairway bunkers and tee shot landing zones, undulating fairways and greens, and a somewhat even blend of longish and shorter holes. This course, 7,300-plus yard par 70, 4 par 3s, 2 par 5s. The par 5 4th hole is well over 600 yards, probably be a 3-shot hole for most. The other one should be easily reachable in 2 by all. 2 of the par 3s are on the shorter side. 2 are well over 200 yards. 2 of the par 5s, 4s now are well over 500 yards. 7 of the par 4s range from 395 to 455. 2 range from 465 to 501, and 1 of the par 4s is around 380 or less. The average distance off the tee here has been much higher than normal tour events, and even with the changes, I still think the majority of golfers will take the drivers, off the tee as much as they can. Now, does that mean that this is just a bomber's course? No, that is not what that means at all, because we've seen the likes of Rye, Akshay, Davis Thompson, other guys, Colin Morikawa, guys who are shorter have played well. If you go to Matt Gannon's Twitter feed, that's where I got the information from where the guys were placing and how the favorites have done well. He goes over, what he thinks, and it's a lot of good form coming in, and good golf being played beforehand. I don't think there is a specialty that you need. I don't think you need to just look at bombers. I think you can look at everything. I think the number one thing that you want to look for is good ball striking recently. He talks about all these winners here have had some sort of spike week, especially in their approaches leading up to this event. And so that is something that I am going to look at when it comes for this week. So the fairways have a little bit of undulation to them. Approaches are going to come from some awkward stances. If the golfers miss the fairway off the tee, they're going to have to deal with, 3.5 to 4 inch rough in some trees. Now, there is some higher waist high fescue that has been added for some really wild, crazy drives. Now, the rough hasn't really led to tough scoring conditions like we've seen, minus 25, minus 26, minus 23. All these crazy scores have won. Like we said in the beginning, I think it's going to be closer to minus 20 because of those par 5s that are now par 4s. Now, if golfers miss wildly off the tee with their driver, like super wild, here's the thing. This is a pretty straightforward course, not that many dog legs, sort of like Firestone or something like that, where all the holes just go, back and forth and like that. So you can miss a fairway 30, 40 yards right, and it could just land right in the fairway next to it. We've seen that happen here quite a few times. Now, on approaches, golfers are going to see above average size greens. They did make it around 6,700 square feet on average now, with bunkers surrounding most of them. The greens slope heavily from back to front. It's another raw staple. Stimpmeter rating of around 12. Many approaches will be from inside 175, like 125 to 175 is where you're going to see a lot of approaches. Now you're going to see a couple of more over 200 yards, around that 200-yard mark, because of the longer par 5s, the longer par 4s, the 2 par 5s, and I think there's 2 par 4s, 2 par 3s that are over 200 yards as well. The POA bent blended greens have heavy undulation, so it could be a tough putting week for some, depending on how difficult they make the pin locations. Comp courses, Sedgefield, East Lake, those are 2 other Donald Ross courses that are played every year. You can also look at TPC River Highlands, same bent POA greens as Detroit Golf Club. What are you looking for in golfers this week? What boxes need to be checked by?
Let's go, Kenny. Love the new breakdown there on the new course. It's always good to know that you are adding some stuff to your old archives.
Yeah, I hate doing that shit. Just give me the same course so I can just cut and paste every year. It just makes it so much fucking easier.
I know. I appreciate it when you are doing good things and actually putting in the extra effort. I'm just joking, my brother. I know you always put in the effort where needed, but it's nice to put in the effort where you don't need it sometimes too. So as I show on my screen here, Jared, this is where we'll be sharing all the boxes for the week. On the micro model side of things, before we even get into these boxes, here's Cameron Young's profile. Actually ranking 10th for me in the micro model this week, but number 1 in the model. We'll get to that here shortly. But on the right-hand side here, you can see I take this golf course, and these are based off of historical driving distances at this venue. I have plugged in the new yardages to kind of generate a feel for, the average expected approach distance for these various holes based off of guys driving distances, et cetera, green regulation rates, fairway finding percentages, all of that stuff. And we're going to have 13 shots that come from 150 and beyond. There's only going to be 5 shots inside of 150, and that's for Cameron Young. If you kind of scooting down the board here, you can see a couple shorter hitters. Siwoo Kim is going to be having, 13 shots as well, but some of them coming a lot more from 200 plus than inside that 150 to 200 yard range. So that's where the benefit of the long hitters will come into play here, as always. It would be funny if they could call this the rock hard mortgage, Kenny, after these greens firm up a little bit, but that's neither here nor there. Let's dive into this week's Byron's boxes, baby. I've got this filtered by easy scoring conditions. I do still think, even though we will see maybe an upper teen score, we know that this golf course is likely going to play easy. So easy scoring conditions per round when scoring averages are below 1.5 strokes under par. These are your easy breezy gentlemen for this week. Nico Echeverria, Brooks Koepka, Johnny Kiefer, Rasmus Højgaard, Xander, Eric Cole, Rasmus Niergaard Peterson, Mac Masner, Siwoo Kim, Nikolai Højgaard are your 10 best easy scoring conditions guys. Nikolai rounding out at the pack here at 1.2 strokes gained. Nico Echeverria, very interesting to me there at 1.8. So we'll have to see what happens there, especially when everything else on his resume is quite poor for the other metrics over there. Then after the micro model rankings over here, Wyndham Clark is popping super, super hard for me as always. He's playing some fantastic golf and does his best work out of the rough. You know, he's elite out of the rough, and with fairways not necessarily seeing tons of accuracy this week, just send the nukes. You know, it kind of makes sense why he's popping number one here. So the best course fits for this week in the Model Maniac micro model are Clark, Siwoo Kim, Koiven, Russell Henley, Nick Taylor, Spahn, Harris English, Eric Cole, Mac Masner, and Cameron Young rounding out the top 10 with honorable mention Patrick Cantley down in 11th spot. Then you mentioned, Kenny, we're looking for some guys that have been balling out with the approach play, ball striking side of things. Yeah, just your guys that have been playing the best golf over the last 2 months. I'm looking for someone who's hot to trot, got some good momentum, you know, bringing a good set of results into the week. That also, obviously, you want to be checking all these other boxes along the way. Your 10 best golfers this week over the last 2 months have been Clark, Ryan Gerard, Siwoo Kim, Goddard, Henley, Spahn, Griffin, Coles, Patrick Cantley, and Jackson Koiven, all gaining 1.36 strokes or more over the last 2 months. Impressive golf from those gentlemen, all playing very, very good golf at the moment. Course history at this venue, not necessarily the stickiest in the world, but you never know. It's nice to have some of that this week. Taking a peek at Wu, has played some incredible golf at Detroit the last couple years. And it's Taylor Moore, who's up at the top there after a miscut last year, but a 6th, a 4th, and a 10th has him gaining as many strokes as Patrick Cantley at the top of the board there with 2.3. This is weighted, so it will reduce Patrick Cantley's strokes gained a little bit less because he's got less rounds than Taylor Moore. You know, you get the same exact strokes gained if you have all 5 tournaments. It gets watered down a little bit by time as you have less starts. So your best strokes gainers at this golf course: Taylor Moore, Cantley, Cameron Young, Grieseman, Finau, Knapp, Chris Kirk, Cam Davis, obviously 2-time winner, Sungjae Im, Taylor Pendrith, rounding out the top 10 of your course history thoroughbreds. Sungjae Im in there by default, having only had an 8th place finish with 2 starts. So worth noting there. You know, I have that best finish in the column right next to it for you to kind of see the context, because sometimes guys have consistent strokes gained at a venue, but they don't quite have that like inconsistent finishes or high upside stuff versus, you know, a couple miscuts, whereas some guys just, you know, Chris Kirk was doing that similar thing, yeah, with just rattling off top 20s until he finished second here last year. Finally, Max Grieseman and Chris Kirk over there doing their thing. Aldrich not on the card because he's only got 1 start. Shocker. So last year's winner. Then we're going to move along to just our guys that can finish at the top of the leaderboard, because sometimes strokes gained will misguide you with what I just spoke about with the course history stuff. The same stuff happens for these guys throughout the bag. Like if you take a look at Harris English, he's likely got one of the better strokes gains this week, but you can like easily find his stuff. He's got like this Bezzy type of profile where his top 5 rates are like 4%. You know, he's just giving you 0 upside along the way. This column over here tells us, okay, who's had the most wins, top 5s, top 10s, and top 20s over the last 12 months. And Cameron Young is leaps and bounds ahead of everyone in this field with 171% total. Siwoo Kim, Jackson Koiven, Russell Henley, Xander, Goddard, Knapp, Decky, Griffin, Spahn, and then Wyndham Clark out at the bottom there. Obviously, these are all your elite names at the top because they finish well. You know, that's what makes them elite names. So it's nothing shocking there, but that's what we add 15% of the weightings into for this week, just to make sure we're getting guys that are providing us with a bit of upside this week. And then your top 10 model rankings for the Model Maniac Patreon this week. It's only box number 6 of 7. We'll get to the 7th box here shortly. But your 10 best model rankings, which takes all the percentages that you see at the top of the board there and, you know, compiles a model rating for them. Here are your best names this week. Cameron Young, Siwoo Kim, Wyndham Clark, Cantley, Henley, Quaven, Spahn, Gotterup, Bhatia, and Jake Knapp rank out incredibly well this week for these guys. And then a specific skill set that I will be looking for this week, and you mentioned, Kenny, it's not the only way to get home, but I think the easiest way to get home this week is to have the nukes off the tee. So here is your bomb squad for the Rocket Classic this week. Guys that thrive off the tee with distance. You know, these are your best drivers of the golf ball distance-wise. I also have 10% for strokes gained off the tee as well, which, you know, you can kind of see, like Christo Lamprecht, not necessarily the greatest driver of the ball, but got tons of distance off the tee. Your best 10 distance drivers of the golf ball: Aldrich, Nikolai Højgaard, Marco Penge, Michael Brennan, Rasmus Højgaard, Gotterup, Christo Lamprecht, Gordon Sargent, Xander Schauffele, and Pearson Coody. Our boy over there with the big nasals doing his thing. So those are your guys over there. We don't have anybody checking more than 5 boxes this week. A lot of the big names either not playing the greatest over the last 2 months or haven't played at the Classic yet, you know, so with that course history missing out there. So kind of an open-ended situation, Jared, this week. You can close the screen there. I did find it fascinating that Nico Echeverria, I think, was the biggest takeaway for me this week, being that easy scoring specialist, which might be like an under-the-radar type of play. But before we get into this week's DraftKings Bets, let's hear a quick word from our partner. New DraftKings customers, get in the game right now. Sign up today and make your first deposit of just $5 and instantly get $25 in free Pick 6 bonus picks, plus a powerful single-use 100% winnings boost token. That means you can play for free with $25 in bonus picks. And if you win, boost those winnings up to 100%. That's up to $100 boost in cash. New customers only. Bonus picks and your boost token expire in just 14 days, so don't wait. This offer is live from June 20th through August 23rd. Download the DraftKings app, sign up, and start playing Pick 6 today. Must be 18 or older, 19 in Alabama, Nebraska, 21 in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia. Valid only where Pick 6 is available. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. New customers only, minimum $5 deposit required. Full terms at pick6.draftkings.com/promos. Play free, win bigger, only on DraftKings Pick 6. And we are back for this week's Rocket Classic Bets, sponsored by DraftKings. We love that from them. Kenny Kim, tell us who the hell is going to win this week's tournament.
All right, so I'm going to start off, like I said, it's favorites this week. So I'm going to start off with Siwoo, 20-1 with 5 places. Do I think Siwoo can win a major? No. Do I think Siwoo can win the Siggy event? Maybe, if Scotty's not playing. Do I think Siwoo can win a second tier B event without the greatest field in the world? Yes. That's I think that's where he needs to get his win. He's had a hell of a season. Like, really. And for him to not get a win would be a shame. And I feel like this is probably his best chance. Maybe Wyndham. Maybe this week and next week, if he plays, are going to be his 2 best chances for the rest of the year, because, again, the playoffs is going to be basically a Siggy event, right? I think this is the perfect event for him to cap off a great season with a win. He comes in first in my mind. First in tee to green, 5th in ball striking, 1st in birdies, all in this field in the last 24 rounds. I'm going to go with Siwoo, 20-1, 5 places, first bet. Next, it's going to be Hideki Matsuyama, 25-1 with 8 places. Decky had his first top 5 in what feels like forever last week. The thing about Decky, when he gets hot, sort of like the Asian Wyndham Clark, when he gets hot, he can stay hot. His best stretch this season was early on when he went 13th, 11th, 2nd, and 8th in a 4-event span to start the year. His next best stretch before that was back in late 2024. He went 3rd, 1st, and 9th at the Olympics and 2 playoff events in like a 3-event span, okay? He also went 1st, 12th, 6th, and 7th in another 4-event stretch earlier in 2024. I'm just gonna ride him and see if he can keep this, the momentum he has from his first top 5 and forever last week, and see if he can carry over for this one. Next, it's gonna be Chris Goddard, 28-1 with 3 places. I love Goddard on driver-heavy courses without many dog legs. Like, that seems like it's his shit, right? When you look at the waste management, right? Very similar. Everything's straight ahead of you. Hardly any dog legs. Just pound it, grip it straight. Hit that low liner if he wants. Get it out there, 320, 330. Have himself a wedge into these greens. Of course, the form coming in is excellent. He's a proven winner, and he had a nice week off after being in the UK for a couple of weeks, so he should be well rested.
I don't want to get into the next guy without speaking about Chris Goddard and the weather, Kenny. This is Detroit Golf Club for the week. What are you seeing weather-wise from what you've recognized so far? It's looking like we're going to see Thursday being pretty calm for the most part, even with 10-mile-per-hour winds. Friday's going to go low. We got some rain coming on Saturday, potentially on Sunday. So I'm not seeing. I mean, Thursday's the windiest day, and it's blue. When you're seeing like blue, it's easy scoring still. And
I don't think he needs to have windy conditions to play well. I mean, it wasn't like crazy at the John Deere. It wasn't crazy in Phoenix either.
I'm just saying I like him in windy conditions, so I wanted to bring up the weather since we forgot to do that. So I just thought I'd tangent there. Go ahead and continue your stuff, my friend.
Next is JJ Spawn, 30-1 with 8 places. He seems to like this course. He's made this last 6 cuts here with 3 top 15s. He comes in 8th in my model this week with a solid approach game, birdie making prowess, solid on par 4s, especially from 400 to 450. He didn't have the best 2 weeks across the pond, but he isn't known as like a real links guy, right? But prior to that, he had 5 top 15s in 7 events before he went to the UK, right? Might do him some good getting back to a normal PGA type course. So I like him. And then I got 2 bombs. I got Chris Kirk, 110-1 with 8 places. Like Spawn, he's a fan of this course, making his last 6 cuts here, including 5 top 25s and a runner-up here last year. He's made his last couple of cuts, and his iron game has actually been pretty strong for the last month or so. Probably like, I'd say even 2 months. He's had a pretty good iron game. I think he's top 35 in this field in the last 24 rounds. Lastly, it's going to be Chandler Phillips at 190-1 with 8 places. Phillips is coming off 4 top 15s in his last 5 events, including a 3rd just last week. He finished 13th here last year. Birdie making machine, ranked 6th in the field in birdie or better percentage in the last 24 rounds. I don't think you can get this number anymore. I got it early this morning. It has cratered, but still like 125, 140-1, still worth it, in my opinion, I think. So the card for this week, it's going to be Siwoo, 20-1 with 5 places. Decky, 25-1 with 8 places. Goddard, 28-1 with 3 places. JJ Spawn, 30-1 with 8 places. Chris Kirk, 110-1, 8 places. Chandler Phillips, 190-1, 8 places. Byron, who you got?
Kenny, I always do this because I need to take my time to make my bets because I've had a busy weekend. My parents have been in town. My sister's leaving town today as well. So I haven't had time to. Takes a lot more time to peruse the odds boards and find the numbers and blah, blah, blah. And I am having a very difficult decision if I want to go with Cameron Young and Aldrich Porchita. So I will say I am going with Aldrich for certain. Whatever his number is, I saw 115 on DK. If there's a better out there, I will be grabbing it. We got a defending champ in the triple digits at a golf course that completely suits his skill set. Again, like I just mentioned, how many times you're going to see long irons at this golf course. It's happening even more now than we've typically seen. So give me Aldrich at a golf course where you need to hit high golf shots if the greens are going to be playing hard, where driver is going to just absolutely take care of business from you off the tee. Aldrich Potgieter is my guy. I mean, he's the defending champ, and I only play him at these kind of a golf courses, and we've started seeing over the last couple of months, he's actually been doing a lot better just in general. And then since the John Deere Classic, he's kind of fallen off a little bit. You know, I don't know what he did.
But that's Potgieter. He's not Mr. Consistent. You're gonna have to bet him and roster him when he's not playing well because you just don't know.
Yeah,
he doesn't have the consistency, but he has the upside.
And you know what? The sports books keep disrespecting him because he's got like upside ability in an incredible capacity. He was number one in driving distance in this field, and he's 21, 22, you know, so he's doing the Lord's work over there. I think I saw 115-1. I mean, it's just an easy click, you know, it's a free square. It's 1/10 of my bankroll for my outrights kind of thing this week. We'll be going there. And then I'm contemplating if I'm going to go Cameron Young or if I want to like start spamming the board with like a Wyndham Clark and a Jake Knapp and, you know, a Chris Gotterup kind of thing in that range. JJ Spawn being one of those guys as well. So we'll see what I get up to in that department. It's likely I'm going to go a little heavier into like the Wyndham Clark Knapp. I really liked what Jake Knapp did on the final round of the 3M. Nice little 62 there. He's Knapp's back, you know, and I feel like this golf course is perfect for him. With the 4th place finish here last year, third, you know, the 13th at the 3M is a good finish considering he's finally coming back from that injury. He was playing fantastic golf prior to that, you know, and we saw, I mean, just finishing inside the top 10, 35% of the time. That's one of the best in this field. And that includes all the crap that he's been up to since the injury, you know, like that top 10 rate was almost 50% at one point this year, you know, before the injury. It was quite a sad injury because he was playing some really good golf after, you know, a really tough off season over there. So we'll see what happens there. I'm completely out on Xander. Oh, by the way, speaking of, Xander top 20 in all 4 majors, plus 700, came home to roost, Kenny. I was cruising over the hills, like refreshing the fucking Open app, trying not to crash because he was T32 with 2 holes to go. And he birdied 17 to finish T18. That was a fun Sunday there for the Open Championship. So I drank a lot of beers that night too. So congrats to Xander. Now still continuing to have the same top 20 rate in all majors as Scotty Scheffler since 2021. But Scotty's got 4, Xander's got 2, and Scotty obviously finished, you know, basically top of the board again there. So crazy to see, but that's kind of my general betting philosophy. I'll likely be betting Knapp top 10 as well. And Russell Henley top 20. Shout out my boy Tybo. I think we'll be riding that one together there too. So that's my bet situation. You can tune into Back 9 Bets Tuesdays, 3 Eastern. Anyway, I'll be providing all of my bets there for you guys once I have had time to really like dive into the board and kind of figure out what the best numbers are and how I want to attack each market with the different golfers. In DFS, I'm either playing the guy or I'm not. So let's dive right into that over here. Starting at the top of the board, Kenny Kim, blood, sweat, and DFS tiers for this week's Rocket Classic. 2 guys in the 10K range, Cameron Young and Xander Schauffele, 10-5, 10-2. For me, it's an easy. I've got Xander ranked 12th in my model. So
he's 60. Xander's 66 in my model.
You know? So will I be shocked if he finishes top 20?
Cam Young is 28th in my model. My model's all recent. My model's all recent form.
Emphasis on any
rounds.
Sort of stats in that recent period, or?
Well, I mean, of course, his putting has been horrible. He hasn't been making very many birdies. He's 118th in birdie or better percentage in the last 24 rounds, and a lot of that has to do with how poorly he has putted. If he puts well, Cameron Young. If he puts well, he can get back into it. There's no doubt about that. But he hasn't been playing par 4s very well. His wedge game has been awful. From 125 to 175 has just been horrible for him here recently. So I don't think I'm going to play either Xander or Cam Young this week. I'm going to skip the 10K range. I'm going to skip the 10K range completely because I do like the 9K range a lot.
Okay. For me, it's an obvious Cameron Young situation here for me at 10-5. His overall upside, I mean, he's got a 2nd and a 6th at this golf course prior to being like the true Cam Young, who has a 14% win rate in the last 12 months. Has his game gone to shit in the medium term? Yes. Was his last finish a second at the Open Championship? Also, yes. So like, do we want to? I don't love the 10-1, the 11-1s out there, but at 10-5, I'm way more interested. I don't feel like you're like gushing out of dollars here. So I think this golf course really suits what he does well over a long period of time. So I wouldn't be shocked if he's at the top of the leaderboard this week again. I'll be looking at Cam Young in particular a lot. Xander Schauffele might be sprinkled in at like a less than 10% rate for me this week. In the $9,000 range, we got a lot more guys. Obviously, we got Chris Goddard, Siwoo Kim, Jackson Koiven, Wyndham Clark, Russell Henley, Patrick Cantley, and your boy Hideki Matsuyama rounding out the $9,000 range. Interesting names, none of them ranking outside the top 11 for me. So it's a kind of fair range. No wonder you like it. Kenny, who are your favorite clicks in the $9,000 range?
Yeah, Goddard's going to be my first cash game cornerstone. Talked about him in the betting segment. I love the way, the upside is there. I feel like this is his type of course. He hasn't necessarily played the greatest here yet, but he did have his best finish here in 3 or 4 attempts last season. And he's coming in. He's super confident. He knows he can win. He's a proven winner. I love courses where it's just the driver straight ahead, pound it. Hit his iron. His iron game has been very, very good here recently. Go ahead, give me Goddard first cash game cornerstone. Second cash game cornerstone is just going to be right underneath him. It's going to be Siwoo at $9,600. I'm just going to go with those two guys up top. Like I said, Siwoo makes all the cuts. Number 1 in my model, a win at like a non-big time event probably should be in his cards with the way that he's been playing this season. So go ahead and give me Siwoo as my second cash game cornerstone. I really do like Russell Henley this week a lot. Funny enough, he's actually the second lowest ranked golfer in the 9K range from me. But the thing is, I like both the two low ranked guys because Hideki is the lowest ranked golfer in my model in the 9K range. Yeah, the worst ranked. Yes, I have Hideki 41st and I have Henley at 22nd. Everybody else is top 12. That's in the 9K range. But I like Henley. I like the way his iron game's there. I just have a feeling about Henley this week. It's just one of those things. I'm usually not a Henley guy, but I just feel like that he's going to do his thing this week. It's just a gut play. I will go ahead and play him, and of course Decky. He comes in with the horrible stats, horrible numbers. I'm hoping that his top 3 last week can just ride the momentum. Like I said, he can get hot and stay hot. I laid out all those instances of like where he went hot for like a 4-week stretch in a row. It's happened a bunch in the last 2 years. So we're gonna go with Hideki this week.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I filtered here by Russell, top 20 markets, 20% finish, top 20 finish rates. Jesus, Byron, for the guys this week. And you can see Hideki and Russell lacking that like total upside, as you can see on the screen here by the colors. But again, both of them top 4 in top 20 rates. So their floor is just so damn high. I was trying to look on DraftKings quickly to see what a Russell Henley top 20 is. He's plus 200 for a top 10. So I'd imagine somewhere in the roundabout the negative situation there. Yeah, minus 104 for a top 20 for Russell, and Hideki's plus 140. Kenny, that's a solid bet in my opinion for Hideki Matsuyama as well, top 20 there. So, with that 58% top 20 rate, he just does it. Like there are certain golfers that just like to hang out in certain ranges, and Hideki's starting to get a bit more comfortable inside the top 15, top 14 now after the last couple starts. So I don't mind him either when it comes to that situation over there. For me in the 9K range, I think I'm going to be leaning heavily on Wyndham Clark. I think I'll be liking a lot of Siwoo Kim as well, and Russell Henley. I think it'll be interesting to see if people get off of him because he's a short popper versus, the distance domination situation that we're looking for over here this week. But again, Russell Henley can just win about any tournament. He's finished 3rd at the Masters. He's finished 4th at, he's won the API. Those are golf courses with big drivers that typically win that type of venue. So Patrick Cantley's checking so many goddamn boxes. He's ranking 4th for me again. You're starting to do that thing where I'm not starting to trust him nearly as much as I'd like. And it's an interesting situation here with Patrick Cantley. Again, that second place finish in 2022, and then he finished 32nd. Yeah, we're starting to see a lot of these places that Patrick Cantley's played well at, driving course history for him as always. And then he's just not replicating that every single time this year, although he has been playing okay, nothing spectacular though. So he'll likely be my Statfish of the week again. I don't necessarily have anyone special for us because he's ranked 4th in the model for me, but he's just not giving you what you're looking for. He's a $9,100 golfer. He's like just not popping top 10s nearly enough, in my opinion. A 5% top 5 rate. I'm not going to be chasing Patrick Cantley in that department. This is one of the more like sloppy, saggy, floppy fishes I've ever had for the Statfish of the week. But Patrick Cantley, although he ranks 4th in the model, I'm going to completely tell us not to go there. Everyone around him seems to have a lot more upside than the Cant monster, and he just can't finish top 5 right now. So that's my Statfish of the week. Very succinct, very kind of repeat performer here again for Patrick Cantley. He's stat fishing the model in a big way this week, so we'll get him out of there this week. Say this week one more time and have a drink with me, friends. In the $8,000 range, we have got ourselves Ben Griffin, Jake Knapp, JJ Spahn, Ryan Gerard, Harris English, Akshay, Nikolai Højgaard, Michael Thorbjornsen. We probably could be the Statfish of the week if we're being honest, but at $8,200, I don't quite think that's a super popular click. So there you have a secondary one. Ricky Fowler and Brooks Koepka rounding out the 8,000 mark over there. Kenny, what are we doing in the $8,000 range?
Third cash game cornerstone is going to be JJ Spahn for me this week. Again, the course history is there. 8th in my model, approach game, birdie making prowess, really good par 4 score. Prior to his links 2 weeks, the 2 weeks in the links courses, he had 5 top 15s in his last 7 events. Let's go ahead and give me JJ Spahn as my third cash game cornerstone. Now, I do think Knapp and Spahn and maybe even Ricky a little bit, maybe even a little bit of Thorpe, they're going to get a little bit of ownership here in the 8K range. It's not like the complete dead 8K range like we've seen, sometimes here in the last month or so. So my hustler play of the week is going to be in the 8K range. He might be a little bit more popular than I want, but we'll see. It's going to be Ryan Gerard at $8,600. Here's the thing. Everyone knows Gerard's all about the putter, right? And how elite his putting is and how he can spike with his putter so often to help him, with these great finishes that he's had throughout his short career, including a win last year. Now, the thing that I've seen from him recently in the last 2 months is the ball striking has improved. The ball striking has improved. And if he can continue to be above average with that ball striking and putt the way he putts, this guy is live all the time. I'm hoping for 8%, but it might be more. I have seen people talk him up a little bit more than I thought they would. So we'll see, but he is going to be my hustler play of the week, Ryan Gerard. I'm thinking a little bit about Ricky Fowler. We'll see. I mean, a couple of top 20s coming into this event, right? And then he's had, of course, the win here a few years ago. Actually, as the betting favorite, he won here. So he's got the course history. He's got the good form coming in. I might take a peek at Ricky Fowler. I haven't really clicked his name, I don't think, at all this season. This might be the first time.
He gets in these, he gets clumpy. He produces segments of good results. He'll have 3 miscuts in a row, then he'll have 3 top 20s in a row. Mm-hmm. And we are looking for our 3rd consecutive top 20 year, with 2 of them being in the majors. The People's Major at the Quad Cities at the John Deere finished 15th, and then 18th at the Open Championship for Ricky. $8,100, Kenny. What is he? Your 3rd or 4th click in a lineup? Mm-hmm. I think that's a totally fair price point for him. He's 21st in my model. I'm cool with that. Checks 2 boxes, whatever. Has obviously got the good vibes here with the 1st place finish. Starting to play some good golf again as well. As I think I will be leaving Michael Thorbjornsen alone if he lands up being highly owned. Ranks 51st. It's the first very big discrepancy I have in the model here for him over the last little while. So we'll see what happens in that department. But Nikolai Højgaard makes a ton of sense for me at a golf course like this. If you're thinking of bombing the golf ball to pieces, he's finished 21st and 24th here in the last 3 years. He just finished 2nd at the Houston Open. I don't see that being that worse of a comp compared to this golf course either. So we'll get Nikolai out there I think JJ Spahn is going to be someone that I lean into as well, with 2 top 10 finishes in his last 3 starts here, with 4 of them all being top 33s. So that's really nice to see. And then Jake Knapp. I think I'm going to be really leaning into him with that Sunday round, man. Round of the day, I think. And, that's some fantastic momentum going into a golf course that he's, had some success at in the past. We know what he's absolutely capable of. I'm looking for him to get his second win after we were on him at the Mexico quad a couple years ago there. Again, another good comp golf course. Vedanta Vallarta, not necessarily as narrow fairways, tree-lined as this golf course. Granted, Brian Campbell bounced his balls off the trees back into the fairway, but those were a million miles away. RIP there. But yeah, anyway, $8,000 range. Those are the guys. Harris English won't be found anywhere for me, just lacking severe upside as well. I don't know what his price tag at $8,500.
Yeah, maybe like 7,200. I might think of him, but yeah.
What are we doing over here?
Yeah.
So that's like a weird price tag in my opinion. He's done diddly dick the last little while. So moving along out of the $8,000 range, just dive into the 7. Some notable names, and Ken, you can chat about anyone I don't mention. Obviously, we've got Jacob Bridgman, Keegan Bradley, Eric Cole, Jackson Suba playing some fantastic golf. But now that I mentioned Jackson Suba, how the hell did we just do a podcast here and not even mention Jackson Koivu?
And we talked about him. Oh, for DFS.
For DFS,
I don't. We'll see. I mean, like I'm thinking of playing him. If I do, I'm going to play him instead of Henley. Right now, I think I'm going to play Henley. We'll see what his ownership is. Especially, I love the fact that he's out there grinding today. It just doesn't seem like what a 21-year-old would do the day after he wins his first pro tournament, to go out, fly to the next event, and be on the course practicing putts at 2:30 in the afternoon, less than 24 hours after you just won your first pro event. I mean, mad respect to him. This dude might be a different type of cat. He might be a different type of cat.
It's his 8th win in like the last 15 starts, some of them college, obviously, all of them college, except for the last one. Insane stuff. So anyway, thought we'd just retroactively address that so people can quit freaking out in the comments after telling Kenny that his mom got swindled out in Australia. But Jacob Bridgman, what do you think of Marco Penge this week, Kenny?
I haven't really been a Penge guy. I mean, it makes sense. I like Brennan a lot above him. Okay. With his both of them are long off the tee. But I seem to like Brennan. I like rostering him for some reason. I think he has pretty good upside. 4th in ball striking in this field in the last 24 rounds. I mean, inside the top 40 in approach, and his driver game is on point, 3rd in distance. Really good from 150 to 175. Good on shorter par 4s. I like Brennan. My final cash game cornerstone is actually going to be Ben Cole's 5 down here at 7,300. You're just riding the mo with Ben. With his Korn Ferry Tour win a couple of months ago and like 4 straight top 15s or something like that. Four of his last 5 top 15s coming in at $7,300. I mean, yeah, I'll go ahead and use him. It comes in 3rd in my model, number 1 in ball striking, number 1 in approach. If he putts just a little bit below average, the guy's going to finish top 20, right? Top 25. If he putts just a little bit below average, if he putts a little bit above average, the guy would be top 10, right? With the way that he's striking the ball. So the cash game cornerstones for this week are going to be Goddard up at 9,800, Siwoo at 9,600, JJ Spahn at 8,600, I think, and Ben Coles at 7,300. I'm filling out that lineup right now with Davis Thompson and Chris Kirk. Thompson, of course, has played well here in the past, coming in with a couple of good weeks back-to-back. Chris Kirk, again, with the course history, iron game really improving here recently. So that's where I have my cash lineup as of now. We'll see if I change it. I'm not really sure. I'm not 100% sold on those two, but they're looking pretty good to stay on right now.
Interesting. Chris Kirk, I mean, it's mostly course history that's really doing it for you there, right, Kenny?
It's his iron game improvement. It's his iron game improvement here recently too. If he didn't have anything that looked like it had been doing well recently, and it was just course history, I wouldn't have rostered it. But the iron game has definitely been a lot better. I think he's 36th in the field, in this field in the last 24 rounds in strokes gained approach.
Okay. Super random tangent, but did you see the shit that happened with Lucas Glover and the spikes?
Yeah. I don't understand why people get mad at that now when you could fix spike marks.
Fix it.
What's the point? What's the point of getting mad about that shit?
Yeah. I saw him make like a public post about it, and he's like being so sassy about it because he's rightfully allowed to. That was insane. I don't, we give him a hard time for a lot of stuff, but when he's right, he's right. So tough scenes there. What were we in? The $8,000 range, moving into the
$7K. Yeah, another guy, Kiefer, is a guy that I'll look at. I know I should have listened to Mayo last week, so I had Brennan. I had Kiefer in, and I was gonna. And then I listened to the Pat show, and he said, he didn't like Kiefer this week. He likes him next week. And I was like, okay, let me put Brennan in next for Kiefer. And I was like, no, I'm not going to tinker. Well, Brennan finished, third? Kiefer missed the cut. Now, Kiefer this week, I know Pat's on him, and he did come with a 66 on Friday, even though he was way out of it. I think he shot 677 on Thursday to really just put himself out of the event. But he came back on Sunday. On Friday, had a nice little round before he went home for the weekend. I know Pat's on him. He likes him a lot. I like Bezzy down here at $7,300 as well. His iron game's been really, really good here recently.
Yeah. I mean, long term, he's still doing okay. But I think Johnny Kiefer makes a ton of sense. He's easy scoring beast. He's gaining 1.6 strokes in easy scoring conditions. It makes tons of sense. And to get back to Michael Brennan, I was loving my life because I picked him as one and done while I was on a bicycle. Just thinking about, okay, what kind of profile at 3M does well? He shot 3 over par on Sunday, Michael Brennan. He finished like 23rd or something ridiculous.
Oh, is that 23rd? Okay, yeah. I know he was up there for a while. He was like top 5.
Until Sunday. I was loving life, and then he just shit the bed. So I love Johnny Kiefer as well. Pearson Coody, if you think of what he does, the best stuff, it's distance off the tee and great off the tee numbers in general, and then he putts his brains out. And we get Ben Cross putting surfaces this week again. I love what Pearson Coody is going to be getting up to this week. Ben Coles, I haven't spoken about him yet. Love what he's getting up to. Playing some fantastic golf lately as well. Can't go wrong with Aldrich Potgieter or Max Griesemann, both sitting in the $7,300 range, both in the playoffs last year, along with Chris Kirk. Makes so much sense there. Ben James playing some great golf, but not necessarily your distance fiend, but still ranking
Billy Horschel.
Nicely.
Billy Horschel's iron game has been sort of insane here recently, like randomly, like insanely good. Like fifth in the field in the last 24 rounds of strokes gained approach for Billy Horschel at $7,000. Fifth, top 5 in the field in irons.
And my metrics are long-term. He's 14th, so like that, it does weight in more recent form a couple more times. So he's playing some good stuff, is Billy Horschel on the approach side of things there. Congrats to him. Right there in that Corny Connors, Cameron Young, Jordan Smith, Ryan Gerard, Dan Brown range. Fun stuff there for the whole monster. In the 6,000s, 6, 7s, any at the bottom of the 7s, Kenny, we kind of dusting over these guys a little bit here. Sudarshan Yalamaraju checking a lot of boxes from a model ranking perspective, 0 from a top 20 perspective for the ones that we're looking at earlier, but 41st in the model. So I think that's interesting to me. Medium and easy scoring conditions are like the better side of things for him there. Tons of distance off the tee, gains off the tee nicely in that department, putts quite well. That's the typical recipe that I'll be looking for this week. See what he can do there. And then Keita Nakajima, I'm just going to kind of believe the model. I'll do some more deep diving into what he gets up to, but plays easy scoring conditions really, really well down here at $7,000.
I saw him on top of on the front page of the leaderboard at some event here recently.
Yeah, I mean, what's he got up to? He's missed the last 2 cuts, but 3rd at the Scottish, so
that's what it was. Yeah.
Maybe a bit of a bounce back there after the Open and the 3M. He's now in the Midwest. We'll see what happens, but he's $7,000, ranks 20th in the model. Good putter of the golf ball as well when it comes to easy scoring conditions, playing some good golf the last 2 months, obviously with the 3rd at the Scottish. That's going to be there for you. Any interest in Tony Finau? No. Can't do it there. Taylor Moore with the course history.
Yeah, Taylor Moore's a possibility down here. Jesper Svensson's a possibility down here. But, I like Chris Kirk at 6,900. I'm a fan of him. Bao Chow, I don't know how to pronounce his name. Bao Chu. He's another guy who rings out well in the model. I'm not sure if that's going to be enough for me to jump on him. We'll see. But I know in the model, he's like top 15 that I have for this week. I like your Nico call. That's interesting at $6,900 with his prowess on easy courses and how he does. William Mao has had a nice little run with really, really strong iron game, third in strokes gained ball striking in the last 24 rounds in this field. Lee Hodges is a guy who makes a shit ton of birdies here.
And a shit ton of sense. He's playing good golf right now.
Chandler Phillips is a guy who just finished third last week, who comes in, has sixth in birdie or better percentage in the last 24 rounds. There's dudes here. You know what I'm saying? Like especially in this upper 6K range, you got Chatfield, who's made 4 cuts in a row at $6,600. Joel Dahman, who's a stat monster with his iron game and his ball striking numbers, driving accuracy off the tee. He's another guy that could interest me. Now, once you get below like 6,500, that's when it starts sort of getting a little trickier. 6,600 above, I feel like there's a bunch of dudes that are ripe for the picking. Under 6,500, you got any?
Under 6,500, I think Matt Kuchar is always, if you are looking for a guy that just make the weekend, he's making 60, like 2/3 of his cuts. It's easily one of the best numbers in this range over here. Pontus Nalo makes a lot of sense for how far he hits the golf ball at a golf course like this. If you want to sprinkle in Christo Lamprecht,
it's a struggle back there.
It's tough. But I'm not going to dive into these.
There's no like 14K Scotty, so you don't have to go down here.
No. There's zero reason to venture off into that range with how many good guys are in this like 66 and above, 65 and above, like you mentioned. It's way too obvious that range is going to be a little more popular. So beware of random chalk monsters out there as well. They may form up out of nowhere when you kind of getting a little click happy with the 6K option down at the bottom there. So we'll see what happens in that department. Thank you, Jared, for screen sharing that. Kenny Kim, let's dive into who we're going to be going with for one and done this week.
Dude, I have no clue. I'm so shitty at one and done this year. I've been so bad at one and done. It's like I've been so good for so long, and this year has just been horrible for both. Like I don't even think I have a chance. I mean, I have some guys left, but in the slider, but I'd have to get the winner in every playoff event, basically, or some shit like that. It's horrible. I think I'm like 2000th in the Mayo. So I mean, I'm not even gonna tell you who I'm playing because just don't listen to me on that shit. It's horrible.
Well, you can tell us where you're not playing. Maybe
I haven't even decided.
Who have you played?
I don't even give a fuck about one and done anymore. I don't even think about it. I'll throw it in there at some point in time. This shit is so horrible this year.
Okay,
the betting's been good. You know what I'm saying? The DFS has been amazing. I can't get all three in a year. I'm
still somehow in the money with. I thought Michael Brennan might sneak me up into like the $750 range, but I'm still around about the 500 with him now. I'm thinking some Jake Knapp. I haven't used a Decky or Jackson Coyven, man. I know that sounds weird.
I might do that too. Yeah.
Who's going to click his name at the end of the day, And I mean, his upside is winning golf tournaments. So who the heck knows if he pulls a Lucas Glover here right before the playoffs and goes back to back, that would be incredible. So I don't necessarily know what I'm going to do there. I don't even know who I've clicked in this range either, unfortunately, since it's been a busy weekend for your boy. But that's all good. We'll figure that out. Drop all that stuff in the Model Maniac Discord as always. Use the link below. Bets26 to get 50% off a month or your annual subs. For those of you interested in best ball, shout out to Pat. Sorry, I'm catching up with some stuff here. Shout out to Pat and Justin McMahon
they won mad though.
Yeah, big time. and had a good best ball season there. Again, another season for me. I had 13 guys get to the third round, and none of them got into the round 4. So I didn't even have a chance to kind of give those guys a run. I got skunked with 13 lineups, and 2 of them would advance if you just finished second. So some of them had Scotty, and he had that bad run of golf during that stretch, and it just is how it goes, you know. So it's best ball. It is what it is. Congrats to those guys, though. I'm not too big of a man to say go check their stuff out or anything. But if you want an annual dog Dominator for free on the Model Maniac Patreon, it's free for you for annual subs, and if you use Best26, it's 50% off a year. So it's a great deal right now in the late summer for those of you looking to get ahead of the game. As always, use code FGD when signing up at DraftKings for first-time depositors. And Kenny Kim, let's get ourselves out of here now that I'm done with that stuff. Jared, get us to Kenny Kim to end the show.
You can find me on X at KendoVT. All my stuff will be on their final betting card. Any changes to Cash Game Cornerstones, anything related to golf and non-related to golf also. Hey, we're in Detroit. Should be a fun week. The last time this tournament's ever going to be played at this course, which is weird since they just put like $30 million into it. But it should be fun. Let's win some motherfucking money, DJ Nation.
I've been getting dirty money, Jordan Bell third. Stacking penny stocks while I'm flipping these birds. Sipping on Ciroc, trip 'em up with the words. I done popped the